Welcome, everyone, to the inaugural episode of the S.I.M.P podcast. Simply, I make plays. I'm your moderator for tonight. I'm Kevin Elwan. I'm here to help kick off what is bound to be a must-hear, must-see podcast for all fans of school athletics. Now, this isn't just any sports show. The S.I.M.P podcast is all about celebrating high school and college athletes and don't just talk the talk, but walk the walk. These are young stars who are making plays on the field, on the court, and off. We're here to shine a light on their journey, their challenges, and their incredible achievements as they prepare for what's next in their careers and lives. I got the honor of introducing our dynamic co-hosts, three men who know the games inside and out. First up, we got Sylvester Coach Wells, bringing his years of coaching experience and insight. He knows how to spot talent, and he's here to guide us through what it takes to succeed on the court and beyond. Next up, we got Sane Jones, the guy who's always thinking one step ahead, breaking down plays and delivering the hard truth. He's not afraid to tell it like it is, and we're lucky to have his expertise here. And last but certainly not least, we got Rique King, the voice of reason and the heartbeat of the show. He's got a deep connection with these athletes, and he's here to make sure we highlight not just their athletic talents, but who they are as people. The SIM podcast is about more than stats and scores. It's about stories. It's about the passion, the dedication, and the hustle that these athletes put in, day out, as they simply make plays. So whether you're a coach, a player, a fan, or just someone who loves the grind and the glorious sports, you're in the right place here. This is the SIM podcast where we highlight these athletes who make game what it is. And trust me, you don't want to miss any second what we have lined up for you. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Coach Wells, Rique, and Will. Let's get started, fellas. Let's get it on. What's going on, fellas, tonight? What's happening, man?
What's good? It's good. Ready to get it started.
The SIM podcast, man. SIM podcast, man. I'm glad. Let me just, before y'all guys start, I'm glad that these guys, I'm honored that these guys asked me to help assist them getting their podcast off the ground, getting things going. And, you know, if you're listening, the sound of my voice, if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, wherever this is going to be at, man. Hey, make sure you check out these guys because they know what it's about when it comes to high school and college athletics. Also on the pro tip too. So check them out, man. But without further ado, Coach Wells, take it away, bro.
Hey, welcome everybody to the S.I.M.P podcast. Simply, I make plays. Come together, try to talk about these kids that on the gridiron, the basketball court, the baseball diamond. You know, that are actually out there doing it for the love and doing it to help their schools win and better themselves. So I'm just proud to be here and ready to get it going.
That's what's up.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Royal, what you got for us, bro?
You know, it's exciting. I'm so excited. I'm starting to stutter, man. I'm starting to stutter. I'm just so happy to be here with these good brothers and trying to do what's best to help these young men and women and also their families and their friends and their family members. I think I always say family members, the parents, be a part of something greater than just the community, but also be a part of what we can make a universal thing to get these guys and gals out there amongst the crowd, amongst the people. So I'm glad to be here with these brothers, about to do some big things for the youth, their families, and their friends, the community, and the world.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Mr. Will Sane, I call him my hero. Y'all are here if they'll have me on some more, man. But Will definitely my hero. Brother Rique King, what's up, man? How are you tonight, man? What's going on, bro?
Hey, man, I'm cool in the gang, man. Just excited to be back in front of a microphone, behind a microphone, with my guy Will Sane, with the fabulous Coach Wells, and with you, because, man, what we are trying to do and what we're going to do is highlight not only the kids that you're hearing about and knowing about, but our plan is to highlight some kids that you don't know about, to put them on the front street so that people can get to know them. But now also not only in the sports world, but in the academic world and in the other world and in life. We trying to teach these young men and young women how to navigate through a part of life to set themselves up for the rest of their lives. So, man, I'm just ecstatic, elated to be a part of things to come, man. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank you, my brothers.
Sure.
No doubt, man. Listen, we're gonna go up and running, man. We're gonna talk about high school recruitment. Now I'll get this over to Coach Wells. Coach Wells, what you got for us on high school recruiting as of now?
Well, as far as high school recruiting, we all know the game has changed. Um, yet, when it comes to recruiting, you have some schools that separate themselves from one another, and we'll get into that later when we talk about the top 25 rankings as far as high schools when it comes to football. But you know, with everything evolving the way college football or the way pro football or pro basketball, pro sports is, it seems like everything is just trickling down to high school and youth. So recruiting has always been a big part of sports. Recruitment has always been a big part, whether you know it's a school recruiting or a coach recruiting, or nowadays you have friends recruiting friends, from state to state. So being that now it's becoming norm, uh, me myself, I really I don't have no problems with it. I think it's actually good for the game because you got to think about it. When it comes to football, you got 500 million kids that play the game of football. Uh, Basketball, you got 1 million kids that play basketball. So you know, I think it's something that's going to get that's going to grow year after year, especially with the way everything happening now in sports. So uh, recruiting is big as far as high school and getting into college.
Gotcha. What you got, brother Reek, on high school recruiting?
Well, it's 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 one of those things that you be happy, but then you see it. The tool now is this money that is becoming the king of all of this, and what I'm hoping is someone is out here just trying to slow the kids down a little bit instead of just looking at the money, looking at a fit. Where do you fit? What program is helping you? So I'm hoping that even though all these adjustments and all these new things and all these new toys and that's coming to the kids, and these kids have earned it and is well deserved, but I also hope that they're looking at places that fit them, because we're going to get into the transfer portal and all the NIL stuff, but being in a place that you feel comfortable, a place that you can grow, not only as an athlete but as a young man and a young woman. Hopefully these are still some of the conversations that's going to go on with these kids so that they can make great decisions for their lives.
That's a very important fact. And you said, Reek, about making sure that the kids find a place where they can go, where they're going to be comfortable, right? Where they're
Yeah.
going to be, it's going to be a perfect fit. Well, not a perfect fit, but something that's conducive for their lives, so
Mm-hmm.
to speak. And
Mm-hmm.
I think now, especially, I call it the arms race, especially like you said, we'll get into NIL, I guess, in the next segment here. I call it the arms race because, money's being thrown everywhere and anywhere around. And, sometimes all money ain't good money, right? So you,
Absolutely.
you got to make sure that, some things just, the situation has got to be right for you, man. So, and hopefully these kids are not just taking the money. And I know some people come from dire straits and dire situations and and these so unfortunately they sometimes prey on kids on that and hopefully we all
Absolutely.
know you
Yeah.
you guys are a little bit closer to it than me, um that there are good people like we got Coach Wells and you guys yourself, and then you guys there's some bad apples too that are just not out for it, not in the best interest of the child of the kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
they're definitely for the kids. uh Brother Will, what you got for us, man?
I guess I'm going to be the old head because I am an old head, I guess now because I'm so stuck in my ways on certain things. I never I can say, and I don't want to step on anyone's toes with whatever their family deem is right for them. But I have to say that I do not like high school recruiting. I guess I'm an old school guy where I am. If you grew up in that town, you become that town's hero.
Mm.
That's just who I am. I guess, like I said, I'm sticking to my ways. I don't like how we now have, as you said, Kev, as you said, we have an arms race. It is an arms race. Coaches, I understand what high school coaches are doing. High school coaches are trying to build up their programs so they have the most dominant program. But it's hard to me sometimes when I look at some of these, and I'm not, once again, I know we're going to sponsor these, not sponsor, but we're going to promote these student athletes. But I have to say, when I look at some of these academies, some of these
Mm,
prep schools, when I
I,
look at them, I
IMG Academy. Yep.
I'm not gonna call out any names.
Oh.
I need your business. I need your business. I need you here. All right. I'm not gonna call out any names. But I am going to say that when I hear and I see these different academies and I see these different prep schools go after these local talents from these local areas, get them in by offering family members this and that and the third. And now these students who come from impoverished neighborhoods are now somehow able to afford $19,000 a year tuition, just to what? Play football and promote this program. Where I look at, well, what about
Did we lose Will?
the superstar?
He did.
And
He did
now
free.
the,
Okay.
the and now the legacy that you guys built for that community. No, Junior, no, excuse me, Trey, because he's the third now. Trey is gonna go take his talent to South Beach. He's not gonna be in Statesboro, Georgia. He's gonna take his talent to South Beach. And it's things like that that just sort of grind my gears, as the old man over here is saying right now. It grinds my gears to see this happening when it comes to high school recruitment. I would love for local talent to stay local and be developed and those programs be able to prosper with the talent they have instead of the talent being shipped elsewhere. And I'm talking too much. I'm gonna pass the mic in a minute here, but I'll take Savannah, Georgia, for example. Savannah, Georgia is a hotbed for a lot
Yeah.
of talent. But a lot of times those students in Savannah, Georgia get shipped out elsewhere. All right. And then that community doesn't get to see that local 7-year-old that they all saw through Pop Warner that they knew was going to be a beast when he finally got to Beach High or Johnson or Savannah Howard, Windsor Forest. They knew he was going to be a beast when he got there. But no, he's
He's in
somewhere else.
Atlanta.
I'm not gonna say
Or
what
Florida. He in Florida.
Well, Florida.
He in Florida.
he
Yes,
ain't in
sir.
Savannah.
Right, but he's not.
He's definitely not in Savannah. He in Florida. Yes, sir.
So that's my only part with high school recruitment that I
Yeah.
sort of am sort of against it, but I understand it.
Yeah. And to touch on that, I mean, you got to think about the schools that are actually recruiting these kids. They've always had a winning program.
Yeah.
They always had a winning program. So you don't give the school that the kid's supposed to go to an opportunity to be a winning program because you're taking the kids right from under their noses.
Yeah.
Somebody swoops in and say, oh, you don't need to be here because there's no exposure here, or there's nobody coming here to watch you, which is not true, because if you are good, they're going to find you.
Yeah.
So they say, no, come to Atlanta, come to Florida, come come to North Carolina. Come to where the exposure is vivid, to where a high school team gets a game on TV
because we have the
every
big
Friday night.
because we have the big name, we have the moniker, we have the status because of how many people we put in college. But let's be honest, how did you get those many people into college? You you I hate to say this, you went into all of these other communities, grabbed their top tier talent, and so you made your program greater while these other local high schools are sort of dwindling. And I apologize, but I have to also say this. It can also, when I think of high school recruiting, I can see how it can affect a kid's attitude. When now this kid says, "Oh, this school is after me. This school wants me." So now he starts sort of undermining his coaches. He starts undermining his team players who are not being sought as much as he is. And it's things of that nature that I sort of am uh, hesitant about being all in when it comes to high school recruiting. How is it going to affect the psyche of the kids who are being sought after, and how's it going to affect the psyche of the coach, the local coach? How's it going to affect the psyche of the teammates who now feel like, you know what, maybe we aren't as good. Why aren't we getting looked at and sought after? I just think there's things of that nature that I see happening when it comes to high school recruiting.
I'll give you, I'll give you a personal account from myself. So as a Yankee here, well, the only Yankee here on the thing, but I didn't have Friday night lights growing up in New York City. So I had Saturday afternoon lights, so to speak. But I moved to the South, moved to Charlotte, and I remember Chris Leak. He played at
Oh,
Independence High School.
Oh yeah.
He ain't live in the area. And at the time when I was like, and I didn't realize how big a deal this was. Like Will said, usually play when I played up north. I played in the school that I went to and in the area school that I went to. Nope, Chris Leak, he was a big deal for Independence High. They was winning championships, state championships in North Carolina, and they absolutely did, like you said. Well, they went to other neighborhoods to go pluck out good talent.
yeah,
And I'll never forget the whole Chris Leak thing. And I was like, I don't think he lives over on this side, but that's none of my business, right? But that's a good. That's absolutely what you're saying makes a whole lot of sense. And is it does it grind your gears? I see it absolutely grind your gears, but it's it's one of those things where the it's unfortunately that's what it is today. And
yeah,
like I think you mentioned social media has made it a big deal too, and how now they, like you said, they're being touted, and it
yeah.
just makes for sometimes a very uncomfortable situation. Let me read something from you guys here. It says, speaking about social media, and this came from Alex Lokenvitz, from Sports Information Manager in September 21, 2023. He said this. It says, X, formerly known as Twitter, is the main source of recruiting due to widespread reach and fitting interface. Players and coaches alike post constantly in hopes of being noticed by the other. The reason that Twitter X is used far more frequently than others is due to the reach that one can gain, usually only one post. By tagging coaches and schools, athletes can easily reach hundreds or thousands of other users. Anybody want to jump in and get on that point, man?
I mean, that the social media, along with the rankings, and it's I've seen a lot of the worst sides of it. Even when it comes to little league ball, I'm sitting here watching kids too, and the parents tell them we're going up against the number of such and so ranked team, and these kids they look defeated before they even touch the field, and so it's like and everything's on social media. They especially here I'm in Athens now, but around the Atlanta area, they got the Born to Competes and all these different outlets that's putting these spotlights on these kids, and everybody is shooting to get these spotlights. Everybody's shooting to get they mixtape on YouTube so they can see and what school and the schools that's recruiting them, and it's so, some days it's so hard to just get in and just get the good fundamentals of the game taught, because everybody trying to shine, you know, instead of trying to work together to accomplish a goal. Now you got from the influence from the outsides that's forcing, you know, parent A to get these highlights, and we need highlights at all times and individual workouts and da 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 da. So you're not developing the team concept, and for a lot of these kids, we're losing the team aspect of a lot of these things, and it's making it that much harder, especially in the impoverished schools, because you know things are a little different at the academies, at the private schools, and because you got you might have big name coaches coming in there looking at them, but you over here at regular high school USA, you just got the local kids and you trying to build them up, and some days it gets disheartening when you look over there and you see a school who might have over 100 kids on the sideline, and you look right across and they barely dressing out 50 kids, and I definitely understand, and Will, you ain't the only old man get off my lawn. I'm definitely with it, but I've also seen where you get a couple kids in and it can change your program. So it's just trying to find that fine line in this thing.
But when you talk about media, I'm an old head too. But I'm gonna say when you talk about media, that's something that we didn't have. Social media we didn't have when we played. So you went out there, and if anybody talked about you, it was the people in your community that talked about how good you are.
Yes.
Because they watched you play the entire game. Now with social media, I can make 2 plays and post a highlight reel, and somebody think I'm good. Well, with everything changing the landscape of high school sports and college, as far as the NIL and stuff like that, college coaches are starting to get a little smart. You can't send a college coach nowadays a highlight tape, a 4 or 5 minute highlight tape of you just doing scoring, or you just scoring touchdowns, or you catching an interception or something. No, they want to see a whole game. They want to see a whole game. So they want to see you play, how you handle an entire game. If we had social media the way it is now with all of the hype to it, just imagine where we would be in this day and age.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? So
I probably wouldn't be successful.
and this is just a nugget. Just a nugget. If you're going to put a highlight tape together, and this is just for these student athletes, you're going to put a highlight tape together. Make sure it's at least 30 minutes or more, and make sure it covers more than one game. Make sure it covers at least 4 or 5 games, or send the coach or post a full game of you making plays the entire game. I think that stands out more than me going on social media posting a one-hand catch and then posting an interception, which is 2 plays. So yeah, so I think I think social media is a gift and a curse. It's a gift and a curse, because it can build you or it can tear you down.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't live up to the highlights that you produce or what you post on social media, when you get that offer, you get to that school, then you're going to be on the bench, or you're going to find yourself in the transfer portal because you're going to be like, well, I'm not playing. Why am I
Right.
not playing? So with social media, it's a gift and a curse. It just depends on how that student athlete uses it, or uses it to their advantage.
Yeah, I think social media is a great tool for the student athletes to get their name out there, to get their visuals out there, to uh, be able to be as vocal as they want to be or as they feel they need to be. I do think that's a great tool for them to use. Now I'm looking at and I'm going to go off of what I see from the next college student athlete website. Yes, Next College Student Athlete website. And on it, it has some of the things which athletes, these student athletes, high school student athletes, it has like 9 things that they should do if they want to be recruited. And that to me is kind of like, it's kind of weird. I guess it's kind of weird to me. Once again, being, the way that I'm wired, it's weird to me that students are going the way this is structured, it seems as if students are the ones that are actually seeking to go to another high school.
Mm.
And from listening to like what you just said, Wells, to what you said, Coach Wells, it sounds like when you're developing that visual, that 30-minute or more video visual, different games that you want to be highlighted, show all the different aspects of your game, you're putting yourself out there to tell another school, this school that I'm at right now, I don't think they're going to get me to where I need to be. I want to come to you, coach. I've researched you, coach. I know what you're capable of creating, coach. This coach right here, this team right here, they're not a better fit for me, more of a better fit for me than you are. So when my student athlete is creating a video and he's seeking another home, how do I as a coach take that? How do players as teammates take that? Are you giving up on us? Is this your last year here, your sophomore year? Because your junior senior year, you plan on playing at a Peachtree Ridge or at a Buford or at an IMG or at a Fort Myers High. That's my thing. Is when we're doing this, when we're creating these videos, we're seeking recruitment. It's like
Mm.
we're wanting to leave the situation that we're at. So what are we telling our teammates in our current situation?
You're telling them that you want to be a hired mercenary. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree, but
Yeah.
and now is that good? I'm not gonna say sportsmanship, but is that good teammanship?
But that goes back to my point. Are we even allowed, or are coaches even allowed to coach teamsmanship, because everything is so individualized?
Yeah,
Mm.
I
and don't get
mean,
excuse me for a minute, Rick. I don't
but
want anyone to get us wrong and think that we're not about a student athlete doing what's best for him or her. We're all for that. But I think what we're saying is that because of the way we're wired from our old ways and what we quote unquote see or saw as tradition, we sort of are trying to get a better understanding of how this is a new, or is this a new thing? You know, what is the main takeaway here other than I am trying to be in a more, is it more that I'm trying to be in a more visual realm to where more eyes can get on me? Or is it that I don't feel that I can get where I am in my current situation? I don't want anybody to think that we're not for people doing what's best for them. I don't want that to be what's conveyed through our conversation right
Well, we definitely know that this is not a new thing because I even remember when I was playing ball in high school that my high school quarterback ended up coming from somewhere. I mean, he was recruited,
now. Okay,
and
can I ask one question? I'm sorry. I mean, Rick, can I ask you one question on that? Do
Mhm.
you do you think or do you feel that at that time he submitted a VCR tape
Oh no
or
no
did
no no. He no he didn't.
yeah.
Now you know how they go, but so I know that it's not just now starting, but the whole making of the mixtapes, the
Mhm.
that whole thing is a new phenomenon, and it's all about getting yourself out there, getting your highlights out there. But like you say, the it's all about individual. It's all about the individuals now. Right now, a lot of it is all about the individuals, and we losing a lot of the team aspect, and to me that is hurting some of the game when because in the end when it all comes down to it, it's all these are still team games, and at some point you have to be able to perform as a team, and I think that's what's getting a lot of some of these kids in trouble, especially with the transfer portal. They trying to jump out here and get out here because they not, instead of competing and learning and continuing to compete, then you're gonna eventually they're gonna start talking about the bad side of the transfer portal of some of these kids that's going in these portals and they ain't got no school to go to
Right.
because they jumping out here and thinking that they're better than what they really are because all their life they've been told they're the second coming of. And
Yeah.
instead of going in here and working and trying to develop and trying to find a system that fits you, that you could go in and help this team out, you just basically trying to help yourself. Which I get it. Is in the end of the day, you're the CEO of you, but at the same time, you have to be able to operate up under some kind of structure.
Uh, can I jump in here? Let me just say, all you guys are right, and Rick, you make a great point, man. Yes, you're the CEO, of you, but yo, you got to be underneath somebody, man.
Yes. Yes.
You gotta learn how to thrive and be under somebody, and that's why I said hire mercenary here a few minutes ago, man. Do you
Mhm.
want to be known for that, or do it's to me it's a very fine line to definitely thread as far as this high school recruiting, and it's just a lot, and I can't imagine. I know, like I said, we're all in the same age bracket, and what we would have done as athletes, coming up in this phase. One never knows, man. We can only think about it, man. But I gotta imagine it's tough. I gotta imagine that it absolutely with these kids, and especially some that are not coached or parented or led in the right direction, where they're
Right.
chasing they're chasing the dollar signs and not the right
Yeah.
environment and the right place, man. So let's move on to NIL. Let me just read this real quick. And this was just 5 hours ago from my dudes here and lived in the state of Georgia. Governor Brian Kemp signed. Let me just give the people the credit from WSBT.com, their news staff, and they said this: Governor Brian Kemp signed an executive order Tuesday allows state schools to directly compensate athletes through name, image, and likeness opportunities. Kemp's executive order comes in the middle of a legal battle between the NCAA and several athletic conferences over the issues of players getting paid. Student athletes in the state of Georgia should compete on a level playing field and not forego compensation available to student athletes in other states while the settlement is pending. Kemp wrote in his executive order. Georgia Tech Director of Athletics, Jay Bate, and Georgia Director of Athletes Josh Brooks released a joint statement. They said this: "We extend our sincere gratitude to Governor Brian Kemp for his leadership today. In his absence of nationwide name, image, and likeness regulations, this executive order helps our institutions with the necessary tools to fully support our student athletes in their pursuit of NIL opportunities, remain competitive with our peers, and secure the long-term success of our athletic program." So that's on the college level, and I know we're talking about high school level. I think they both kind of intertwine. But
Yes.
that was just 5 hours ago. Five
Was
hours
that
ago.
was that? Excuse me, I apologize, Kev.
Yeah,
Was
you
that
could.
on, was that on the college? Did he sign it? Is that a college thing or a high school?
High
No,
school.
this was college.
That's
That's
for the
that's
high
how
school.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, this was just college. Yes,
Okay.
right.
I would not be surprised if shortly or soon he also signs one, or Georgia does allow NILs for their high school student athletes.
Hmm.
Right,
Because
right.
Florida, which is the border state, which is a big rivalry state, which is
Yes.
known to take some of Georgia's athletes,
Mm,
uh, they are allowing, in the great state of Florida, they are allowing students to have NIL deals.
yep,
Now, there are certain things that the student athletes cannot uh, associate themselves with, such as tobacco, drugs, you know,
Hmm.
yeah,
illegal things such as that nature, alcohol. They can't sponsor those type of products, but they are allowing students down in high school students down in Florida to have NIL deals. So I imagine that pretty soon Georgia will do the same thing in order to keep their athletes local.
Got to be able to compete.
yeah. You gotta compete
You,
with these
you
other
got to compete
states.
with Florida, Texas,
This California,
California's. Yeah,
California.
got to
yeah,
be able to compete, man.
Alabama. You gotta be able to compete with those states. And if you don't, they will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you need to pay.
yeah, yeah,
that's,
yeah.
that's what it's all about. You need to pay, and if
Yeah.
you don't pay, it's game over for you.
Right,
But
And
like
yeah.
like Will said, man, Florida's paying.
right.
Florida is, and I'm down in South Florida, so I know a bunch of dudes, and yeah, it's big. It's humongous down there. I didn't really realize how big it was until I moved down here, man. But it's huge. Florida is definitely huge, especially when it comes to football.
Yeah,
So go ahead. Excuse me, Coach
so,
Wells.
yeah. I mean, even with the youth, they say high school, but the youth are getting something. You because they're being recruited at an early age. So the kids, the youth, are getting something. So you go
Yes,
out on that field and you see a kid playing 10 and under, 12 and under, and he done scored 6, 7 touchdowns in that game. Guess what's going to happen?
yes, sir.
Somebody, yeah. Somebody's palm is going to get greased, and that kid is going to be off somewhere. So
so,
Yeah.
well, I
I mean,
apologize.
you seeing it in a lot of the youth leagues around Atlanta. To I mean, every year there's a whole new program, a whole new park that's showing up, and all of a sudden they got all this, all this big boy money. Last year, this park was the park, and you just watching it. It's a lot of money from the collegiate level on down. It's making its way to the playground.
Mm.
So I just looked it up. So according to what I'm seeing right now, Georgia does already have an NIL deal. They had an
Yes.
NIL back
yeah,
in for high school students. Had it back in October. So I
so yeah,
apologize. They've
Wow.
had, so Florida just got theirs. I know Florida just got theirs in this year, June. I want to say it was June 2024. We actually had to have a coaching meeting at my high school where I'm at. We had to have a coaching meeting about the NIL and explaining to us that, be very cautious of when speaking to students
mm,
because especially if you are a business owner. So if I have a small business, I have to be very cautious about speaking to students from other schools.
Mm.
But they could
Mm.
think that I'm trying to recruit that student to now come to my school. So there's different things that there's several different rules which are embedded in the policy. I know one of the rules also is that if a student, because this just recently happened, we had a student. He was a freshman starting defensive end. He ends up leaving the school. Now, I don't know if this student had an NIL deal, but I do know this. If a student transfers from one high school to another high school within that year, then that student cannot receive a new NIL deal because then it would appear that the competing school or the school that the student has now transferred to actually built a collective and offered said kid to leave this school to come over to their school. So therefore, you are not allowed to get an NIL deal and play football in that same year if you transfer to a new school. And I think that's a good thing that they put in, but I do still see how people will get around.
Oh
Of
yeah,
course.
absolutely,
Of
absolutely.
course.
You know
Paper
the
bags,
Find a way.
paper bags will be dropped in the Walmart parking lot.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah. You know they say there's more ways to skin a cat, but when you look at that, what let's look at the foundation of these high schools. What does that do for the high school coach that loses that kid or those kids, and then you start losing, then you're fired?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So
Yeah.
it's no different than the NFL. It's no different than college. But
Well, I
when
can look at
you
the two high schools in my city in Athens. When I was growing up, Clark Central and City Shoals was the top, were two of the top high schools around here, and now City Shoals barely putting 30 kids on the field at a varsity game,
Yeah.
right,
and
right,
Yes.
Clark Central, who look like they should be able to when it's come to playing to the Oconee and the Jefferson County, the Jefferson Jackson counties, and those schools where the money is appearing up at now, they're not able to compete, man, and
right.
it's sad because you got a whole community that on the east side of Athens that's like, man, how and why did we get here? You know, because we used to things excelling over here, and man, it's a bad look, and I'm trying to figure out why and how. Even though, like I said, we know how and why, but I'm trying to figure out, is there a way to reverse this and get some of the talent that I know that's still here?
Mm.
Can we get it back at the two main high schools in the city?
I would say reversing is there's no reversing because to reverse means to do away with NIL. And I know
Do
that's not.
it.
I know
That's not.
you
That's
know
not going to happen no time soon.
exactly.
Look,
We're not getting no money back now. We ain't
No,
getting
no,
no
no,
money.
no,
sir.
no,
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 sir. We definitely ain't getting no money back.
no,
But
none of that.
but
None of
I
that.
but I do feel what you're saying because I see the stands when I go to games, when I go to our high school games, and I see the stands and the parents aren't in the stands, or the folks or the fans aren't in the stands, and it's because I hear a lot that the talent isn't on the field like it used to be because the talent once again has been gone
Right,
out. Now, with
right.
that being said, how do you get that talent back?
Yes,
Well,
that's
to
my question.
me, the way that you're gonna have to get that talent back is you're going to have to get a collective at your school, just like they have in college, a collective who has an LLC, who actually has funds to come together,
Right,
build the funds together,
right.
and actually entice these students with paychecks to come from said school back to your school. Where that kid says, you know what? What's better than exposure? Money.
Yes,
Right.
sir. Yes,
But
sir.
but also winning. Are they going to leave a winning program to go to a program that's not winning?
I would venture to say possibly yes if two things. If two things. One, I'm getting paid, and two, I'm still going to be the man because I know there's still some students at smaller schools here who are going to Alabama, who are
Right.
going to the Georgias, who are going to the FSUs, who are going to the Miami. They're
Right.
still in this area at the smaller schools. So
Right.
I know that they will still go because they probably didn't have the, and I will say this because some of these academies, you got to be kind of intelligent, you got to be kind of smart, and some of the students may not be able to get into some of those academies because they don't have the grade point average or the
Yeah.
academics to get into the said academies or prep schools. So therefore, I'm still going to have to go to the local school. So if I can get four of the not so academic, well, I hate to say it this way, the academically challenged 4 stars and 5 stars to come to this school, and I have a collective that can pay to get them over here, then I think that that's something that's a possibility of how you're going to garner wins, and the students also get paid as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm in Savannah. I'm in Savannah, and when you talk about winning programs or dominant schools with all the talent, it's the private schools here. It's the BCs that's won 4 or 5 state championships in the past 6, 7 years, or however many. Then you got the Savannah Christians that have 4 and 5 stars all the way across the field on both sides of the ball, probably even on special teams.
Modern
Then
day
you got
school out in California. Modern day.
Yes. Then you got Calvary, who has 4 and 5 stars on both sides of the fields, and then you have, when you go to the public schools, it's not really a lot of public school competition. You have here now, you have 2. You have 2. All right. So you got Richmond Hill, who's not considered part of Savannah, but you have Richmond Hill who competes on a weekly basis. And then once you get into Savannah, you got New Hampstead and you got Jenkins. It seems like everybody else is the kids that are at these private schools. I don't have an issue with it, but just imagine if those kids was at those public schools that they should be at.
And that goes back to, like I said, the collective. People are going to have to come in. It was like the old back in the days when we had the booster club.
Oh yeah.
Let's do away with the booster club. You got to have a collective now.
Yeah.
Although it's the booster club, it's the collective that has to come in now and actually car dealerships who probably are who has a son that goes to the high school who's just a regular student at the high school. He may want to give to the local high school. A guy who's now a millionaire, an IT tech who went to the high school, he may want to now give back to the high school. An athlete, a student, an athlete who was former athlete at that high school who wants to give back. Those people are now going to have to come together and possibly go after local talent to stay at their high school or stay at the high school that they once attended and they still have an affection for.
Right. Build the program per se.
Wow, we're talking about this on a high school level.
Yes.
Yes.
That's just
Yes.
mind-boggling if you think about it. It's just mind-boggling if you think about it. Just on a high school level.
You got to do it. I mean, it's sad to say because it's like you got to do what you got to do to compete.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do to compete. There's like, if you don't, then little JJ that's supposed to be at your school that just ran for 7 touchdowns in the middle school game, he's not coming there.
No.
Yeah.
No, he's not coming there. He's not coming there. He's going to end up at a private school, and he's gonna be that kid that's gonna somehow, some way, end up at Alabama or Georgia or Texas or.
I got a little cousin who's down in Washington, Georgia. I'm trying to get his mama to go on to bring him on up because the private school. Hey, as much as I would love, for him, but he's one of them athletes where he might can, but why go up on a might can when we know we got a sure thing?
Mm.
And so it's kind of hard to, once you start looking at that thing and start, I can see why a lot of people are saying, why?
Right.
I know it's over there. I know he's going to get it over there. I love, but why should I? And it's there.
Right.
So it's just one of those things. Like I say, it's definitely interesting. And
at the end of the day, regardless of if that kid, the final decision belongs to the parents.
Yeah.
Those final decisions belong to the parent. And, situations like that, it's like playing Russian roulette. It's a hit or miss. It's a hit or miss. You can make that decision and say, oh, yeah, they offering this, that, and the third, and take your kid over there. He play over there for 4 years, and he's still here after he graduates, or he's still in the city. So who say that kid, if he didn't stay at that public school, that he probably would have went farther?
See, those are the conversations that I'm looking to. The kids that go to the IMGs, these big private schools, and they're there, but they're not performing up to that level.
Right.
What does that do to their psyche? What does that do to their mentals? And what does that do to them after you don't sat there and you don't went, you don't sacrificed everything, and you're not that guy.
Right.
I've actually seen a kid that had the opportunity to go to one of the private schools, but when he got there, he was like, "Man, this ain't me."
Go back on the
And it just did not fit him, and he ended up coming back to the public schools, and he went on to do bigger and better things because he was comfortable. He was in a place where he was comfortable and morally appreciated.
Right.
Is it also that you're a shark out here, but then when you get there, you're a goldfish?
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of that is. Yeah.
When I can be an alpha, you can be an alpha male out here at this school out here, and then when you get around some other alpha males, you see, oh man, now that's alpha male. It's a little different.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you guys: have you heard of the name Trent Seaborn? Trent Seaborn, and from Alabama. Trent Seaborn, and I'm going to go off of WVTM 13 in Alabama because I've heard of this kid's name, but I'm going to reference what the interview that they posted with him. WVTM 13. Trent Seaborn is in the 10th grade this year. 10th grade. Trent Seaborn turned down a 7-figure NIL deal. A 7-figure NIL deal going to the 10th grade. Going into the 10th grade.
Wow.
He loves where he's at. He loves where he's at.
Right.
It's not about the money.
Right.
It is amazing that 10th graders are getting offered the amount of money I have not ever achieved in my 48 years.
My life. Yes, sir.
But that's where we're at today. That's where we're at today.
NIL deals are great for the student. I don't know if it's great for the program. And that's the only thing that I, as a fan, and as also as a parent and as a mentor, I don't know if it's great for the programs or if it's great for a student's mental and psyche. Because think about the pressure that this kid has right now. Because think about this. Think about this. I just got off. I get offered a seven-figure NIL deal. Let's say I take this offer. I go to this school. My family comes to this school, and now so much pressure is on my shoulders because if I don't succeed, what do they tell us to do? Pack up and go back to a small town where you from, and now I lose my money, and now I go back with shame on my face because I left, and people look at me now. Think about the pressure that also has to be involved with that money when that kid does, especially a 15, 16-year old, when what he should be worried about right now is girls, and if he's going to go to homecoming, and if they're going to win their homecoming game, but now he's worried about, am I going to be able to sustain my success in order to continue to take care of my family at 15 and 16?
I think it. Will, you make a great point, and I think it depends on the kids' parents, their
It's
circumstances. I never heard of this kid in his life. It
yeah,
looks like he got a bunch of offers from Alabama, Arizona State, Arkansas, Auburn, Florida State. Um, and he's the class of 2027. He's 6'1", 187. He's ranked number 90 according to 24/7 Sports.
mm,
But it looks like it just depends on your upbringing and
yeah, yeah,
because like you said, he goes to another high school, like you said, another big one of those big I call it farming academies, and he bombs out, and then like you said, he got to come back home with an egg on his face, so to speak. So it just depends, as you guys stated earlier. It just depends on the situation, man, and
yeah.
what do they want for their child. And if he keeps plugging, he keeps working. Hey, that stuff will come.
Yeah, he's gonna get that regardless. He's
Oh,
gonna get that
absolutely.
I
regardless.
just look at his offers. Like I said, what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said, Alabama, Arizona State, Arkansas, Auburn, and Florida State.
Yeah,
Mm,
always.
And see,
all
this another
Neil schools.
and see this is one thing that his family structure for him to
Yeah,
be able to turn that down and have the wherewithal to say that I'm good at where I am. What's his family structure like?
Yes.
Because
yeah. Right.
I guarantee you, too many kids that come from where we know they can come from
Right.
might not have that
Luxury,
the ability, the luxury to say I'm good where I'm at.
man.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I'm good. Let's move on to the transfer portal where we got some time here. Let me just read this. I had this article here, and this is from the Wire, the Sports Wire. And it says here, in the world of college football, recent developments have sent ripples through the traditional model that college coaches have become so accustomed. The introduction of the transfer portal and the newfound autonomy granted to college athletes through name, image, and likeness deals are reshaping the way coaches approach recruitment. Perhaps nowhere is this shift more evident than the words of Deion Sanders, the head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, who recently shared his thoughts on a podcast. He said this: "I feel bad for high school kids because we're only taking like 4 to 5 high school kids this year. They're getting the short end of the stick." Coach Prime lamented. His candid statement shed light on the challenges high school athletes now face in securing coveted spots on college rosters. And I'll start off with Coach Wells. Your thoughts on this whole transfer portal and how it's affecting high school sports, high
Oh,
school athletes.
it because it affects it. I think it affected a great deal, because those schools that normally recruit kids out of high school, that go and get these kids straight out of high school, aren't doing that no more. They aren't doing that.
Nope.
Because it's so many kids that spend 1 or 2 years at these schools and they in the transfer portal.
Mhm.
It's like agency.
Yeah, let me get somebody that's already played college ball. Let me get somebody that's already polished compared to grabbing a kid straight out of high school that's going to take me 1 or 2 years to develop when I'm trying to win now.
Cam Ward, look, he was at Washington State, and he's up here down here in South Florida tearing up with the Miami.
With the Hurricanes.
Hurricane.
With the Kings. Right.
He
Yeah.
played 2 years. He played 2 years at Washington State.
Yes.
You know, in the Pac-12 or what was Pac-2 now, whatever they are now.
Yeah.
And he balled out, and now all he needs is he comes here. He comes down to South Florida. He's got a bigger line. He's got a dude at running back. I forgot his name. He's a beast. The other cat at wide receiver. So he's got some dogs with him. And like that first game he played against Florida, man, he balled out. So like you said, they don't high school's down. You're not the pick of the litter no more.
You're not.
College guys are dip into, I call it free agency. They call it transfer.
Yeah,
it's clearly free agency. So, but go ahead, Wills.
Unless you're Clemson, because Clemson's the only school that Clemson is the only school that.
Listen, hold on 1 second. Hey, on this show, you're gonna find out that Coach Wells always have a dig at the University of Clemson. Go ahead.
And that's my squad. That's my squad. But Clemson will always, for whatever reason, and I'm not mad at them, I think Dabo structures his program around development. If you are in high school and you want to be developed and you want to play as a freshman, as a sophomore, and then go to Clemson.
But
if
you
not,
don't want to win.
Thank you.
You say you're not. You say not going to win, but that's been Dabo's motto, and he's won 2 national championships from it.
When was that?
Nowadays,
when was that, and who was on those teams?
Okay, we talk about Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson. We're not getting those quarterbacks no more.
We talk about pre-transfer.
We're not. Clemson is not getting those caliber quarterbacks no more. Like, it's it. Once NIL and the transfer portal took effect, it pretty much just changed the aspect of the game now. So you have somebody like Bo Nix that been to how many schools, and he just getting to the league, and he came into college football before Justin Fields, or came in around the same time as Justin Fields, and you say, well, man, is he taking up a spot from a kid that's in high school that really deserves it or should be there? College coaches ain't thinking about that. They trying to win now. Or you could be like DJ and go to Florida State after your third school and still not achieve anything. And they say, okay, so is the transfer, as a college coach, you have to think, is the transfer portal really worth it when it comes to my program? Because Florida State did it the year before and went undefeated. But as soon as they lost their quarterback, it's been downhill. So then they go in the transfer portal and they brought a former 5-star quarterback to Florida State, and they're 0-3 now. And losing to teams like Memphis.
That boy hasn't been 5-star in 6 years.
Right. So
that was terrible.
But then you look at it, will it happen next year? Because you look at high school, you look at these high school quarterbacks today, and these guys are awesome on the field. You talk about Juju Lewis and a couple of others that are actually putting up video game numbers, and you say, am I willing to take a chance on him, or am I willing to go in the transfer portal and find me a starter? So if the high school kids are taking a big hit because now it's like you can go out there and perform all you want. If there's a kid that's in the transfer portal that's doing what you can do or doing just as much as you do, then you can sit for a while. Or you can go to a D2 or D3 or a JUCO and try to make your way up. Give yourself some college reps, and then I might come and take a look at you.
But what about the kids that are not willing to compete? That's going to the high school student that they've taken them, but you get to the college, now you're not the best kid on the field. Now you butthurt because you're not on the field. So now you jumping into the transfer portal because you're not getting playing time, but you're not getting playing time because you were not worthy of that spot.
Right. So you sit. So you gotta think that if nobody reaches out to you, if no school, Dabo reaches out to kids in the transfer portal, but he doesn't promise them a starting spot.
What color kids do he reach out to? I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that. I'm sorry.
The only thing about the transfer portal, I hear all the talk about, and I'm going to defend Dabo. And the reason why I'm going to defend Dabo is not because my daughter goes to Clemson, but I'm going to defend Dabo because of Kirby Smart in Georgia. Georgia does not take many transfers. They're not a heavy transfer school. They're a development school. And they have a very successful program. Why I'm saying that is because when I look at a lot of these other schools who take a bunch of transfers, there's no real cohesion there.
No.
There's not. There's a lot of friction. If you ask me, there's more friction. Why? Because there's no culture.
Right.
I came there. You came there. I'm competing against you.
Yeah.
I need this spot. I need this spot. Well, in places like Dabo is trying to create in Clemson and where Kirby has in Georgia, to me, it's a culture where it's not you're going to just take my spot. You have to earn it. And then if you earn it, you got it. And guess what? Iron sharpens iron.
Right.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
Will, the only thing I would say to that point is the talent that Kirby is getting here in Athens, as opposed to the talent that Dabo is getting in Clemson.
Oh no, it's not night and day.
It's not night and day. It's you know what I'm saying? It's
similar.
Yeah.
I would say this, Rick. When you look at when they're on a recruiting trail and who they are after,
absolutely,
Clemson is getting a lot of people who Georgia are after. Who Georgia
absolutely. So, but okay, so either it's the talent or they're not being coached because the last few years. The talent at Clemson, no sir.
Yes.
Well, you said talent.
Like I say,
at the quarterback position. At the quarterback position. Yeah, you say at the quarterback position because
y'all gonna keep a linebacker. Yes, y'all gonna keep a great linebacker.
Running backs, wide receivers, D linemen, linebackers, some corners. But it's the quarterback position. They're not getting.
No. Let's look at the results on the field.
We got the results on the field, but what we're saying is that you remember back, Rick, if you take it back when Mark Rick was at Georgia. Hear me out. When Mark Rick was at Georgia, Georgia had top 3 recruiting teams.
Yes, sir.
However, we couldn't get over the hump because of coaching.
Yes.
Now,
so Dabo's the problem.
I will say this. I will say that Dabo and his coaching staff, they may need to do better at coaching up what they have. The same way Kirby had to come in and coach up the talent that he has. You can give me 5 stars across the board, but if I ain't got a good coaching system,
absolutely.
I just got numbers.
Clemson, this is what it is. And we've seen the same thing with Alabama. When you start winning national championships, the coaching turnover ratio becomes greater. Look at the coaches that Dabo lost once he started winning national championships. So you bringing in new coaches in towards the beginning of the season or the middle of the season to try to get these, because your offensive coordinator or your defensive coordinator then took a job at an Oklahoma or at an Auburn or somewhere else. So now the recruits just hope that the recruits, that those offensive defensive coordinators that recruited them still come to that school.
Yeah.
So once you get a turnover ratio in coaches, then you're not guaranteed to have the same production of winning a national championship that you. Kirby Smart is in place.
You're not, but if you look at the Knicks, even what we're doing here in Athens right now, we haven't coaching turnover, but it's the head man who's making sure that a lot of these things. And the thing that I used to love about Nick Saban is Nick Saban would go get some of these old coaches and bring them back.
Right.
So that even though there's a coaching turnover, I'm still keeping high quality coaches in place so that however I'm getting them, whether it's out of the transfer portal, because even though Georgia don't take a lot of transfer portal, but at key positions, we going to get that guy.
I don't know.
And I mean, Clemson just did the same thing with the offensive and defensive line. They just brought back 2 veteran coaches that coached in the NFL back to Clemson to coach the offensive line and defensive line. They brought 2 coaches in. My thing is they're not getting the same quarterback play from when they had Trevor and Deshaun and Taj. They don't have that same.
DJ Oogaloo was a 12 star, wasn't it?
But he was he to me, watching his highlights in school. He played at St. John Bosco out in Cap. He played out there. And if you watch his highlights, the guy had 4 and 5 star receivers all around him. 4 and 5 star receivers all around him. Not to mention, he had one of the best running backs in the country in the backfield. So his job was easier. Now, when he got there, he didn't have a Sammy Watkins. He didn't have a Nuke Hopkins. You understand what I'm saying? But he didn't have those when he got there. He had receivers that were up and coming. He didn't even have Mike Williams. So bringing him in, the system was there. I don't think the system was right for him.
So Will, let me interject for one moment then, because it sounds like from what you're saying then, and I'm not just gonna, I don't want to just harp on Clemson and try to beat down Clemson or beat down Dabo. But from what you sound like you're saying is that without an elite quarterback, Clemson can't be elite because and the reason why I say that is because Stetson Bennett wasn't considered an elite quarterback. And that's why I go back to saying to me it's coaching and it's also coaching and culture together. Your coach has to instill a culture. So regardless if I'm losing coaches, I got a culture in place. And that coach that's coming in has to fit my culture, and the athletes that I'm bringing in have to fit my culture, regardless of how many stars are beside their name. And that's why.
And half the time, those stars really don't even matter.
And that's why I think Georgia does not.
Well, they don't. That's culture. That's when it comes to culture,
right?
Or even picking up players from the transfer portal. Do they fit your culture? Or are you bringing the kid just because he ran for 1,200 yards last year, or are you picking a kid that fits the culture and can also do different things on the field?
Right, but you got to look at it. Clemson don't offer a lot of high school players. They don't offer. They don't hand out.
They offer a lot
They
of
offer between 20 to 40. They only hand out 20 to 40 offers per year. So they don't go out there like the South Carolinas or the Alabamas that offer 180 kids. They don't do that. 30 to 40, and those are the kids that they feel fit their program. Now, when we talk about quarterbacks, we talk about quarterbacks. There's a hit and miss on quarterbacks. Hit and miss on quarterback. Regardless of what star they are, it's always a hit and miss on a quarterback. Always. You always going to get that. But I think the quarterback that Clemson has now, I think Klubnik, I think it just took him a few years to get to where he's going to be. I think it took him, because from watching him play the past 2 years, I really thought the kid couldn't read a defense. Watching some of his throws.
Was he a transfer or
no? He was recruited right out of Texas.
Okay.
So he dabbled on transfer portal, or you know what I'm saying. So he just put up 66 points last weekend, or he put up 45, 50 something points in a half. Now, do I go back and say, do I think DJ would have been solid in that offense that Clemson have now under that OC? No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
So, speaking of transfer portal, real quick. So there was I remember back in, I think it was 2022, when Texas A&M had the best recruiting class ever out of high school. Texas A&M, and it was the class that Nick Saban talked about. Got in trouble about talking about how much money was paid for that class. Anyway, there was a guy out of Georgia. His name was Smoke Bowie. He was a D back. He was D-back, defensive back. And I remember Georgia was after this kid because he was from Georgia. Georgia was after the kid. The kid ended up going to Texas A&M, and I think he got suspended during a game against Miami for missing a curfew or something like that. He leaves Miami, he hits the transfer portal after his freshman year. He comes to the University of Georgia. University of Georgia now gets this kid. All right. University of Georgia suspends him, kicks him off the team. This kid is now, I believe, 20, probably 22 years old. He's not playing college football now. And what's sad about that to me is he entered the transfer portal, escaping what appears to me, escaping one situation where he thought was bad, going into another situation which he thought he was going to be better in. However, I don't think he was able to escape his past behavior or his quote unquote misguidedness about himself. Because now, to be a highly talented 4 or 5-star recruit for Texas A&M, with Texas A&M and Georgia both want you, you go to both schools and you end up at neither school, and you're not even in college football at all now. It's very telling about these kids, and they have to be very mindful when entering that transfer portal. Are you the problem? Or is it the school? Because it could be you, and you just need to adjust to what is being asked of you. And just by thinking that you're going to run to greener pastures, you may find out that, hey, you know what? It really is me. Because no matter what school I go to, I'm still gonna have problems at that school.
Right.
But when this
Right.
kid has had his butt kissed from
Oh yeah.
little league
Cater.
to middle ball, middle school ball to high school ball, ain't nobody told him he needs to shut up. He needs to sit down. You need to pay attention. You need to listen. When when you're that kid, and you've also been told you're the one, you the one that got to get your family out of here. So
Mhm.
damn everybody else.
Mhm.
How do you now? How do you now tell this kid in college? How do you redirect his thinking when he's already they done kissed his butt all the way through? Now you ain't kissing my butt. Now I'm finna get in the transfer portal and leave. Now I'm over here. Oh, you ain't gonna kiss my butt either.
Mhm.
So how do you do? What are we doing wrong as a community for these kids?
Let me jump in here for a little bit. All of this has to do with as Will said, this kid, and he's jumping from ship to ship, and again, the hired mercenary, so to speak.
Mhm.
And Reek makes a great point about from Pee Wee Ball, he's been, the man, so to speak. And how do we stop it? I'll tell you how you stop it. You gotta have somebody to be a man, be like, yo, I'm not putting up with your, I don't know if y'all want to cuss on the show, but I'm not putting up with your stuff anymore. So since this is a friendly family show, I will
Yeah.
not curse. We're not putting up with your foolishness no more. So I think that somebody has to take a stand, man. Like the old saying, you stand for nothing, you should was you stand for something and you'll fall for
Or your
anything.
fault, anything?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It takes the right coach,
yeah.
the right mentor, the right teacher, the right parents. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody has to keep a kid under control.
But if that and that's the one thing about us having this program,
Yes.
and I want to bring it to our program for a second because in order to be a simp and to be considered a simp, you
Yes.
must meet requirements. And we're not just talking about, and I know we have the acronym of simply I may play as a simp, but no, you're also a student athlete. Sports is my passion. I got that. That's another thing about being a simp. Sports is your passion. But you know what? Your grades, your academic, that is also your should be your passion. That should be what motivates you because you need to be the total package in order to get to the next level. And what I mean by that is past high school, past college, and past the NFL. You need to be coachable. And a lot of these young men and women need to understand that I if more and more adults and people who are trying to give you good advice, you're neglecting that sound advice, then you may not make it at the next level because you're not coachable. You don't want to hear what people are trying to give you that you should take in to help develop you. What you want to hear is what you think you already know, and you're not ready to be a simp. I'm being totally honest with anyone who ever listens to the show, anyone who ever chooses to come on this show. You must be honest with yourself. And this goes for parents as well. Parents, be honest with your child. I understand that some parents are going to feel sort of the feeling that I don't want to uh, sever ties with my child because my child is great and my child is going to make it one day. And I know if I say something wrong, my child may cut me off because I've seen other children or other star athletes not be in their lives or intermingling with their parents at an older age. But now is where parents need to be that sound voice to
Mhm.
keep that child grounded and keep that child is the key word in check. that child athlete of yours, you have to keep them grounded and keep them in check.
And the good reason you say that is because with the NIL and with the recruiting, too many of the wrong people might be after your kid.
Correct.
Mm,
Correct.
So
yes.
as a parent, you have to be that foundation, that found that sound foundation for your student athlete.
Let
Got
me
to.
let me say one thing before we shift gears. I remember listening to the former GM of the Atlanta Hawks, Travis Schlink, Travis Schlink, and I remember him
That's your boy,
saying,
ain't it?
and I remember Travis Slink saying on an interview on 92.9 The Game in Atlanta. I remember him saying on an interview that GMs do tell college kids lies. They tell these college kids lies that yeah, you're gonna be drafted number one. Yeah, you're a first round draft pick. You're great.
Mhm.
They bring these kids out of college knowing that that kid doesn't have the talent to make it into the league or into the association. So when I say that, I'm saying that to let parents know that what you're hearing from a GM or what you're hearing from an agent is probably not the best interest and intent for your child. It may be the best interest and intent for them in their pocket.
Right.
So
So
you have to
just like
find,
that student, just like their student athlete, as a parent, you got to do your homework too. You got to
yeah,
research too. So
yeah,
you got to understand who's talking to your kid and what they do and what they're about.
yeah,
You got to do your homework also.
yeah.
So good point. I definitely understand
And we absolutely could beat down this topic. This transfer portal thing is huge. And like you said, it's trickled now into high school. And it's definitely something that we'll most definitely revisit. Um, Coach Wells is going to give us the top 25 high school rankings. Um, according to well, I'll just give it to Coach Wells. Take it away, sir.
Tell us about all those prep schools and academies.
that.
How many are public schools?
Hey, not hey,
Uh,
we're not gonna do we're not gonna go there.
oh man, I apologize.
But you can just imagine that most of them are okay. Just most of them are. Let me grab it right quick.
All right, as Coach Wells looks that up, let me just run down for y'all the top 25 um, college football team recruiting. They got number one is Ohio State, Alabama, LSU, Georgia. This is number five, Texas six, Tennessee seven, Oregon's eight, Texas A&M is nine, Oklahoma is 10, Notre Dame is 11, Miami's 12, Clemson's 13, Michigan is 14. Um, Number 15 is USC. Number 16 is Penn State. Number 17 is Florida State. Number 18 is Missouri. Number 19 is Florida. Number 20 is Georgia Tech. 21 is Washington. 22 is Ole Miss. 23 is Kentucky. 24 is Rutgers. 25 is Wisconsin. And that's the 2025 industry ranking football's team recruiting rankings. And they got like Ohio State has 4 5 stars, 17 4 stars, 5 3 stars. Looks like and they got 28 commitments for an average ranking of 92.19. And the average NIL survey says 240 204K for NIL deals. And give you some other Alabama there. They got 4 12 4 for 21 commitments. their ranking average is 91.92, and they have a NIL average deal of not average deal average is 249K. So they're spending some money. They are spending some money for the sake of Clemson. Let me just go down how much Clemson is spending here. Since we on Clemson tonight, Clemson has got 5 star recruits, got 9 4-star recruits. They got 5 3-star recruits for a total of 14 commitments right now, and they are spending 105K in NIL money, and their average here is 91.28 when it comes to ranking. Wells, you got that pulled up for you, sir?
Yeah, yeah. For the high school,
Go
I
ahead.
was give me 2 seconds. I was waiting for Will to say, "Yeah, we may not have any 5 stars, but you know those stars don't matter."
nah, they really don't. They really don't. They really don't. All right, let's get into these top 25 high school teams in the country. At number 1, you got Modern Day. They just beat Bishop Gorman last weekend, who was ranked number 2. You got St. John Bosco at 4-0, Milton, Georgia at 4-0, Duncanville, Texas at 2-0, Bishop Gorman, who just lost to Mater Day last weekend, 3-1, IMG Academy at 3-1.
Where are they? IMG ranked what?
IMG ranked number 6. Ranked
Okay.
number 6, IMG Academy at 3-1. At number 7, you got Carrollton, Georgia. Juju Lewis. I watched them play a couple of times. They played, they pretty much got it together. Number 8, you got North Shore from Houston, Texas. Number 9, you got St. Thomas Aquinas out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. They at 3-1.
They are heavy. They
are heavy. Yes,
they
they
are.
are.
I went and saw a game with them last year, man. Down here, man. They are. Yes, they're the
Yeah,
real. Go
they're
ahead.
good as advertised. Number 10, you got Missionville out of Missionville, California. You got number 11, North Crowley out of Fort Worth, Texas. Number 12, you got Archbishop Spalding out of Severn, Maryland at 4-0. Number 13, Beaufort, Georgia out of Beaufort, 3-1. Boyle County out of Danville, Kentucky at 4-0 at number 14. Number 15, you got Cocoa, Florida at 3-1. Number 16, you got Central out of Phoenix City, Alabama at 4-0. Number 17, Orange Lutheran, Orange, California at 3-1. Number 18, Corner Canyon out of Draper, Utah at 4-1. Number 19, Virgin Catholic out of Oradell, New Jersey at 2-1. Number 20, De La Salle out of Concord, California at 3-0. Number 21, Lakeland out of Lakeland, Florida at 3-0. Number 22, DeSoto out of DeSoto, Texas at 2-1. Number 23, J. Sierra Catholic out of San Juan Capistrano out of California at 4-0. Number 24, St. Francis Academy out of Baltimore at 2-2. And number 25, you got a Tasita out of Humble, Texas at 3-0. This top 25 is considered the best in the country, and they have some of the top talent in the country. But what I like what they did with them this year, I think a lot of these teams are playing 1 or 2 games of each team out of the top 25. I think that's more competitive, before they get into their region schedule. I like that idea of playing 1 or 2 teams out of the top 25, the preseason top 25, before you get into your region schedule.
So my only question about that, and I spoke with a friend of mine today who I plan on having him and his son on later on this year. My question was because the school where his son attends, they played a school in Alabama, they played a school in Florida, they played a school in South Carolina and North Carolina already. I think they played like 4 schools already. And the school is in Georgia. The school I'm talking about is in Georgia. And I had to ask him, how are y'all paying for all of these trips? You know, down to go to Savannah High. The furthest we probably go is, we wouldn't even go as far as Macon, which is 2.5 hours away. And I got people driving from I'm not going to say where, but middle Georgia area, all the way up to North Carolina, all the way down to Florida, all the way over to Alabama.
Some of these, they flying. Some of them are flying.
Yeah, they flying. They flying.
Yeah.
You know?
Who's paying for it? Where's the money coming from? I'm like, was it Method Man when he said, "Where's this money coming from?"
Yeah.
Hey,
every time this is sponsored by such and such and such.
Sponsored by, yeah, absolutely.
Sponsored by such and such and such and such and such.
And so one thing that he told me that, well, some of the former athletes probably give back to that program. So when he said that, it made me, and I'm just going to divert for one moment, it made me go look out and say, well, what high schools produce the most NFL players if these schools are taking these trips? The money has to be coming from somewhere. So where's this money coming? And then, so I had to go look up, let's see, who has the most NFL players, which high school? And so I have a list according to Sportscasting. Here's the top high schools with the most NFL players as of 2024 that's currently playing.
So,
You all guess who is number one?
IMG.
Thank you very much, sir.
IMG all day.
14 from IMG Academy. I'm not going to go over the list of names. American Heritage in Plantation, Florida, they have 10. They have 10.
They good high school down this way. Yep. Down in South Florida. Yep.
Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas, they have 8.
Yeah.
The Martha Catholic High School in Hyattsville, Maryland.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They have 8. St. Thomas Aquinas High School, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. What is going on in the water in South Florida?
Listen, not only that. So, like I said, I've been down here 8-9 years, and Miami Central, y'all probably heard of them. Miami Northwestern, where Teddy Bridgewater is coach now.
Coaching them, yeah.
1 minute, Kev. That was my 1 minute, Kev. I apologize. That was my very next one. Miami Northwestern Senior High School. They have 6. What is in the water in South Florida?
Hey.
Florida got some dogs down here, man.
They grow a little different down here.
They grow a little different down here, man. Wow. It's go ahead.
This one was a surprise to me. Way down. Give me 2 seconds. Gentlemen, I apologize. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and tied for 7th place. Peachtree Ridge High School in Swanee, Georgia, with 5. Gold prize.
And most of them are the Haywoods.
Yes, the Haywood brothers.
Wow.
Why I have Peachtree pride is because my son attends Peachtree Ridge. So yes, I cannot believe Peachtree Ridge is tied at number 7 with 5 current NFL players. So I'm proud to say that, man. But that amazes me that these high schools are now able to travel. What was the school? Forgive me for not remembering right now. That traveled from Atlanta, Georgia, to DeSoto, Texas, and got mollywopped
by 70, right?
Bishop.
Bishop, or was it Mill?
No, they had the documentary on it.
It wasn't Mill Ridge, right?
No.
It was Mill. No,
it was Mill.
We're not talking about
Mill Ridge
School.
No, they beat this. They played against DeSoto High School, and DeSoto High School is also tied at number 7 with the most NFL players. They have 5. They're tied with number 7 as well. They have 5 NFL players, but they just recently played a team that was from Atlanta, and that team traveled all the way from Atlanta to DeSoto, Texas, and got embarrassed.
Oh, that was Buford. When it Grayson? No, it wasn't Buford or Grayson.
No, it wasn't. No, Grayson just beat out. Grayson beat the top team in Alabama. They beat the top team in Alabama.
I think it was Grayson. I really think it was Grayson.
No, it started with an M. It's not Grayson. Grayson beat the top team in Alabama, the number 9 team in South Carolina, They beat a team in North Carolina as well. Grayson is a nice. Grayson is a nice team. Grayson is a nice team. It wasn't Grayson. They played DeSoto. Oh man, I apologize. I should not. You know what? I hate to be one of those people who bring up stuff and I'm not ready on and Johnny on the spot when it comes to having my name all ducks in a row. But ladies and gentlemen, you will find out about me. I have ADD, and so I have ADD, and it would kick in, and I'll remember one moment and forget the next.
They played Creekside. They played
Creekside.
Creekside, and they beat them 70-0.
That's who it was. Creekside traveled
70-0.
all the way.
Yes.
Yes, that's what it was. Creekside traveled all the way from Atlanta to DeSoto, Texas, and got mollywopped. And so I wondered who is financing these trips to say, "Good God, I did not pay that much money for y'all to get beat that severely."
Well, DeSoto probably helped with a little of that finance. 'Cause I mean, I definitely would have asked them for something after that beating.
Well,
Look,
I guess
I'll fly you back home. I'll fly you back home after what I did to you.
I guess they figure they do it in college, right? Because colleges, what was it, a couple years ago? Shout out to Stony Brook University in Long Island, New York, that went out to Oregon and really got the got their butts kicked, so
Yeah.
to speak, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Look at Memphis. Memphis
Oh,
went up
yeah.
to Tallahassee, got 1.3 and beat FSU.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens. It
Yeah.
happens.
I'll never forget one of the happiest moments of my life. Georgia Southern went
Yes,
into
sir.
the swamp in Florida and they
Yes,
beat
sir.
the Gators. And I despise the Gators. And I love Georgia Southern. Hell Southern. Oh, I think that's probably like a hot Hitler, which I didn't mean. But
Family show.
I know I
Yeah.
try to do Hell Southern. Let me wave when I do it.
Family show, man. Family show.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Will, did you have something else?
No, that's all I had, gentlemen. I apologize.
Coach, who you got as the well, we have a segment here. It's called the Simp Spotlight, and Coach Wells, take it away. Who you got for us tonight?
My Simp Spotlight player of the week goes to Rico Collins from Jenkins High School here in Savannah, Georgia. Middle linebacker, 5'11", 220. Last weekend against Beach High School, this kid turned in one of probably the most outstanding performances I've seen from a middle linebacker in a while. He had 7 solo tackles, 10 total tackles, 2 interceptions, and 1 return for a touchdown. This kid has a 3.8 GPA. 3.8 GPA.
Good. That's what
No offers yet, but the kid plays hard from the time he steps on the field to the time he leaves the field. He even gets in that little fullback sometimes and he blocked for the running backs. He plays special teams. The kid he played a dynamic game. In 4 games this season, he has 23 solo tackles, 29 total tackles. He averaged 7.3 tackles a game with 2 interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown. And this is his first year starting. Last year, he played sparingly, but he was a backup. And for his career in 2 years, a year and a half, 55 solo tackles, 79 total tackles, 4 sacks, and 2 interceptions.
You know, that is what we're talking about. You know,
Yes,
doing
sir.
it on the field and off the field. Young man Rico, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing on and off the field. Be a role model in the classroom as well as a role model on that field.
Salute.
Salute to Rico. Salute to Rico. That's the Simp Spotlight. So, listen, we have come to the end of the show, man. I've had a blast, man, talking with these co-hosts of the Simp podcast. Simply, I make plays. I'm honored that they asked me to come join. I know y'all see the Sports Chasers logo above our head. I am, if you hear me, I am the host and moderator of the Sports Chasers podcast. But these guys asked me to help them out. I'm just truly honored. I'm glad I was here to help them out and help them with their journey with this podcast, man. Hey, a lot of insightful stuff when it comes to youth sports, high school sports and college sports, and a lot of wisdom and nuggets between these three guys right here, kicking it. So, hey, this is where you want to be at. Hey, high schoolers, college guys, hey, this is where you want to be at. Come on the show. Let these guys, we can talk, we can rap, and absolutely, we can have a good time, man. And hey, before we go, I like to always, hey, pass it to the co-host. And hey, what you got for us out of this show tonight? I'll pass it to Reek. What you got for us, bro, before we get out of here?
Hey man, it felt good. It felt good. Will saying it's always good to be in your presence.
Yes,
Coach
sir.
Wells, hey, anytime I can talk to you about Dabo, it's good. Hey man, I think we got some here, man. Let's keep working. Let's keep doing what we do. Appreciate you, Kevin, for what you did for us and helping us bring this together. I appreciate you, brothers, and can't wait to get back on the mic.
Man, that's what's up, man. I'll give it to my hero, Will, brother Will. What you got for us, man?
And you know what? Thank you to the people who tune in. Look, this is a dream of ours to make your dreams come true, and that's just being honest and speaking truth. We are here for you. We need you. We want you. We want your success. That's all we want from you. We want you to be successful. And if we can just be a part or a vehicle to help you get to that success, then we did our job and we did our job well. We're not looking for any funds when it comes to from you. We're not looking from any proceeds from you to have you come on the show. What we don't want you to. We're not a pay for advertisement show where you pay us to bring you on. We really want to be an outlet for you to one, get your voice heard, two, get your visual out there, and three, we want to be able to give you some sound advice on how you can possibly become the best version of you on and off the field. And to these brothers right here, I know that we have the right team coming together to make it happen for the student athletes, male and female, and their parents. Thank y'all, brothers.
Shout out to Will. Last but not least, Coach Wells. Let me give you a little quick story about how I got to know Coach Wells. I worked with his cousin up in Charlotte for the longest, and he's one of my best dudes in the world. And then I met these gentlemen, met actually Coach Wells on this awesome Facebook sports group that we're a part of. Shout out to the sports fanatics. And
Sports fanatics.
one day, Coach Well just sent me a instant message on Facebook, man, and me and him hit it off, and we've been friends ever since. And then he introduced me to, as I call him my hero. Will knows why he's my hero. The Also Mr. Will and also Rique, who I met here just a few months ago, man. These guys are awesome. This show is going to be something else, like I said, for high school sports, youth sports, for college sports. You definitely want to be about it. But Coach Well, you'll have the last word, and we'll get out of here.
Hey, man, like you say, but I love you guys, man. Y'all are awesome. Uh, Getting the show started was a couple years in the making, but we finally got it going, and I'm ecstatic for you student athletes. This is about you. This is for you. We want you to be, like Will said, the best version of you. We look to have y'all on the show, different guests, you know, to come on and tell y'all story, as Kevin said. Tell your story. You know, your dreams, your vision. This is all about you, and we're here to support you and help you get to where you need to be or where you want to be to fulfill your dreams and be successful. Whether it's sports or whether you decide to take another route, whatever, we're here for you, and we're going to do everything. We look to be the best high school sports talk show in America. That's what we're aiming for. But we can be that with you. We can be that with you because of you. So, hey, shout out, salute to all the student athletes out there that's just trying to make it and be successful.
Got you. Y'all heard it from the guys. Listen, I'm Kevin L. Warren. I'm your host. Excuse me, I'm not the host. That's the other show I'm the host of. Excuse me. I'm the moderator here. I'm just the moderator here, guys. Helping the guys out, man. Listen, I had a great time. Hey, y'all be good. Y'all be blessed. This is the Simp Podcast. Simply I make plays. Remember that. Simply I make plays. The Simp Podcast. Y'all be good. Y'all be great. We'll catch you the next time. Be good. Peace. All right, sir, you can end it. You can end the recording. I'll edit that out for you.